Hey guys, so I wanted to share a testimony on healing from anxiety and depression, and not just like it was severe anxiety and severe depression. So back in like 2015, I think I was leaving this like toxic relationship. Goodness, sometimes we create soul ties with people that we should have never, created a soul tie with. So I was leaving this very toxic relationship, and the reason why I left it because I honestly believed that this guy was my soulmate. But it was just our demons, the demons that we carried, the bad spirits. They really knew each other. And I really truly believe this was my soulmate, but it was too toxic, and I started having tons of anxiety where I couldn't even drive. I went to the hospital several times. So let me just share. One of the times that I went to the hospital, I was just at work, and I was actually on my lunch break, and I went outside to smoke a cigarette, but I felt like my heart was pounding very fast, and so I stopped smoking. I thought it was just the heat. I'm gonna have some water, and I went back inside the office. I was working out El Cajon at the time, so it's very, very hot out there. So I went back inside the office, and then I just started panicking. I started feeling I couldn't breathe, and I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. The girl panicked, my coworker, and she, poor thing, she probably was super scared, and she called an ambulance. And the ambulance, they just told me you have really high blood pressure, and they calmed me down because I really felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. And after that, I had several other episodes where I went to the hospital because I was so sure that I was gonna have a heart attack. And they even ended up finding out that I actually have a very slow resting heartbeat. So my heartbeat goes down to like 50, 55, which for a chunky person, that's abnormal, So they gave me a machine to put on myself for, I don't remember the name of the machine, but to wear for like 2 weeks straight to see if there was any abnormalities in my heartbeat. Come and find out, they did an ultrasound and my heart was perfectly healthy. It was just anxiety and depression. So I went several other times, to my doctor, and he said, here's a card. And the card, the way I was feeling. First, let me explain the way I was feeling, guys. I felt I was crazy. I felt I was gonna die. I was gonna end up in a lunatic, in a loony bin, as you call it, a mental hospital. That's what I thought. I'm sorry that I call it a loony bin, but it's a mental hospital, and I thought that's where I was gonna end up. And I remember I couldn't even drive without panicking. I ended up just being in bed. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even cook. I couldn't do nothing but just be in bed because every time I got up, I felt like I was gonna pass out. That was severe anxiety and depression, and I finally went to the doctor, and I told him, this is how I'm feeling. I went to the emergency room several times. Another time that I had a panic attack, I was at the swap meet with my little cousin, and poor thing, I probably scared her. You're watching this, I'm so sorry. And I went to the swap meet, and we're walking around, everything was fine, and all of a sudden, I felt it. The panic, I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding super fast. I felt like I was gonna pass out. They called an ambulance, I think she did. And I remember in the ambulance, I was singing El Poderoso de Israel, the powerful of Israel, which is Jesus. And I was singing that, and that really calmed me down. And I remember that paramedic kind of laughed because I was like singing. And but it really calmed me down. And was just another anxiety attack, severe anxiety attack. It was so embarrassing. But at the moment, I wasn't embarrassed. I just was fearing for my life. I thought I was going to have a heart attack right there and then. And so, you know, after that, several more episodes. I remember one time at my grandmother's, I panicked again, and I told her I need to go to the hospital. And so she called my cousin. My cousin came over and he prayed for me, and I calmed down again. And so then, you know, and then I went to the doctors when I was like, for 2 weeks straight, I couldn't do anything but lay in bed. So I went to my doctor's physician's office, and he told me, well, here's this card. And I looked at it, and it was the suicide hotline. And he told me, here are these pills. You know, this card is just in case those pills make you feel worse. So I thought, I already feel like I'm gonna die. And I was already getting thoughts, suicidal thoughts. I was getting suicidal thoughts of, you know, maybe it was best to kill myself. And so if I was gonna take these pills, that terrified me, that it could possibly make me feel worse. So I decided against it. I said no. And I did what I thought was best, which was, and it was for the best. It saved my life. I didn't know anything else. I just knew that my family had, they would all, you know, they would go all fast and pray. And I remember they would do a Daniel fast. And that was 21 days. They just go vegan. They don't eat anything processed. They just eat legumes and vegetables and, you know, everything, like olive oil and coconut oil, you know, so very organic and nothing processed at all. And so I remember that had healed many people before. And so I thought, you know what, Jesus, I'm going to give you a try. I had tried it all, guys. Drinking, smoking, being promiscuous. I mean, I thought this guy was my soulmate, but he never made me happy, ever. You know, like, and so how was he my soulmate, right? But obviously he was not. But I had tried so many other things that I thought, let me just try Jesus. My family has always talked about Jesus. Let's see who he is. And so I started fasting. And it was a real torment, guys. I was being tormented. I felt like every day, it's hard to explain. I really felt tormented. I felt like I was in this deep hole that I couldn't get out, that I was just going to end up dying or being sent out to a mental hospital. And 3 days into my fast, the torment, I was hearing things. It was demonic forces tormenting me. Those soul ties that I explained earlier, that I connected with this person, and probably many others that I had slept with, you know, those soul ties, now those demons were haunting me. God was allowing this, so it would push me to seek him, the healer and the deliverer of all things. So I started fasting and I praying, and 3 days into my fast, I remember feeling tormented, and I was in bed and I was hurting so much, and you know, and so I asked God, in my desperation, talk to me, let me know what I'm doing is fine. And I opened up my Bible, guys, and I shared this testimony before my Snapchat. I shared it before my Snapchat. So maybe some of you will remember it. But I remember I opened up my Bible, and this is where my eyes, you know, where I landed. And it says, this is what it said, guys. I'm going to read it to you guys. It says, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic. Many other versions of the Bible will say lunatic. And it says, and he suffers severely, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. So he was, this man brings his son to Jesus that was a lunatic or an epileptic. And it says that he would fall into the water or into fire. So basically, he was trying to kill himself. So I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. So this man brought them to the disciples, and they couldn't cure him. They didn't heal. Then Jesus answered and said, "Oh, you faithless and perverse generation, how long should I be with you? How long should I bear with you? Bring him here to me." And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, "Why could we not cast it out?" So Jesus said to them, "Because of your unbelief. For I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting." Guys, God spoke to me right here and told me, I remember my desperation. I was telling God, let me know what I'm doing is correct. I was being tormented by demonic forces. Yes, anxiety and depression, you might not believe, but it is demonic. It is bad spirits tormenting your soul. Okay? And if God is allowing it, it's because He wants you to seek Him. Okay? He allows it for a reason. Now, right here it told me, these things did not leave except by prayer and fasting. So, God spoke to me in that very hour when I was so desperate for answers. 3 days into my fast, 21-day fast, guys, and He to let me know that what I was doing was correct. So, I continued with my fast, and guys, I was healed from anxiety. I was healed from depression, and that torment. I didn't need any pills. I didn't need any doctors, a psychiatrist, a mental institution. I needed Jesus. That's who I needed. And I was healed. My soul, I would wake up in the middle of the night, tormented, scared, in panic. And I would read my Bible all night. I would read my Bible because I couldn't sleep. For weeks, I couldn't sleep. But reading the Bible or putting the Bible just audible, where I could just listen to it all night, I would end up feeling so at peace, and I would be able to sleep. And finally, after my fast was over, so was that anxiety and that depression. So guys, if anyone out there is suffering from anxiety and depression, please seek healing from Jesus, because Jesus will deliver you from any spiritual attacks. Because our attacks, you guys, it's spiritual. And only sometimes with fasting and prayer, these things will be cast out. So, seek Jesus. Jesus is the healer. He restores all things. He heals us. And if you have any questions, please send me an email. Thank you for watching. You have a good night.